And welcome, Elena. How are you
Hey,
today?
Karen. Good to see
I
you.
I have been looking forward to this for many, many, many days, and I'm so glad that
Yeah.
all of the heavens aligned and we were able to do this. This is super exciting. I don't think you and I have been in a room talking about oils for a really long time, and that's a shame. So I'm glad we're able to do it today. We're going to kick off with a little bit of fun. And
Okay.
just so everybody knows, I have not shared these with you at all. So this is going to be very,
Totally new and fresh. That's good.
spontaneous, which I think is a lot of fun. We're going to play a little game called This or That. All
Okay.
right.
Yep.
So this or that.
That. Okay.
Spend a year entirely alone or a year without a home.
A year alone.
Okay. Buy all used underwear or all used toothbrushes.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess underwear. It can be
Okay.
it can be washed in a machine. Toothbrushes, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could go either way. Photographic memory or an
Mhm.
IQ of 200.
Photographic memory.
All right. And two more.
Okay.
Forget your partner's birthday, your
Mhm.
husband's birthday, I should say, because I know you have a husband, a lovely husband, or your anniversary every year.
Forget my husband's birthday because he doesn't care. Literally. It's
And then the
just,
last one,
yeah.
wear stilettos to sleep
Mm.
or slippers everywhere you go.
Stilettos to sleep for sure. That's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer. All right. So a little insight into Elena's preferences. I love that. But we want to really talk about essential oils, and I want you to share with me. And this has nothing to do with doTERRA
Mhm.
or our relationship or whatever our journey. I want you to go back to your earliest memory of either smelling, seeing, touching, tasting an essential oil, like all the way back. What's the first memory you have in essential oil?
So the first is actually when I was pregnant with my daughter. Um, Somebody, don't ask me who, probably from a mother's group, a mom's group from town. I was, getting a little bit bigger, having difficulty sleeping, and she said, have you ever tried lavender oil? And I said, no, I've heard about lavender pillows or lavender sachets. And she said, go to a health food store and you can find some there. And so I did, and I went. And I have to say, I bought the lavender oil and I actually used it. And I think it relaxed me. Don't ask me the brand. I have no idea. It was just something in the local health food store.
Sure.
Um, and but what's interesting was when I got to the store, I remember looking, there was quite a big display of essential oils of all different sorts. And I remember saying to myself or thinking, wow, who uses all these? And what could they possibly be for? So that's my first memory. So that my daughter will be 25 this summer. So about 25 years ago.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. And I know between that 25-year-old, 25 years ago and to the moment that you were introduced to doTERRA, we could do multiple podcasts on the journey, right?
Indeed. Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
have to cut a few things out. So we're going to get into a little time capsule. We're going to fly forward and we're going
Okay.
to get to that moment when you learned about doTERRA and you had your first wow moment. So what was like the gateway? What was that? Like, this is different and I'm excited about it. When did that happen for you?
So I have to say, it was probably when you and I were writing the book together.
Okay.
And, we were doing a lot of research.
Yeah.
And I remember I either bought a bottle or somebody gave me a bottle. I don't even remember at that time, but that's going back to like 2010, maybe even, because doTERRA started in 2008. And that's more or less the time that we were kind of writing our book. There were a lot of things going
Yeah.
on. Somebody gave
The
me a
first
bottle.
book. Yeah. The
Right?
first
That's what
book.
I'm talking about. First book. Yeah, not second, first book. And I remember saying to you, and this is good. Hopefully you remember this. I remember saying, this company's going to eat our lunch.
I remember that. I was hoping you were going to share that. I was like, and I have to say, there are very few things you've ever said that like put shock and fear in my stomach. And you were very calm about it, but you were very concrete.
And I remember you were like, no, you think so? I
No,
was like,
never. Because the oils that we were using, we thought were like,
and I
dippity
remember saying to
like the
you,
best thing, ever we could ever see. And we had really invested a lot in this company. And I remember you showed me their magazine. Do you remember that? And you're like, look at
yeah,
this magazine. And I
and
thought,
like just their
I didn't want to
bottling.
like it. I wanted to find something I didn't like about
Oh,
it.
I know. And that was way before we
That was
actually
way,
joined
oh
each
yeah.
other. Yeah. But I remember saying that out loud. And I remember you saying, oh my gosh, you think, and I was like, I know so. If I had
Yeah.
the choice, I would
Yep.
pick this one. Yeah.
Right. And that made me
So,
nervous.
okay.
I don't know if I shared that with you, but yeah, that made me
No,
nervous.
you did. You seemed nervous when I said it.
Yeah. So what was the first doTERRA product that wowed you? Do you remember that?
Probably On Guard.
Okay.
Um, a lot of what we did in the beginning was we were comparing theirs to ours,
Yeah.
right? So how does this smell? What does this smell like? And I will say this is an interesting thing. I think the first product that I actually did that kind of comparison with, and I'm sure you remember this too, was when Emily Wright came to my house and she had different products. And I remember saying to her point blank, I feel like this smells weaker than the one we had been using,
Right.
right?
Yeah, like it was watered down. It was
Right.
weird.
And so she said, think about nature. When you smell a rose or you smell, I don't know, basil leaves or something, peppermint leaves, you don't like fall down dead, right? It's kind of subtle. The only thing in nature that's really, really strong and kind of disagreeable is maybe like a skunk. But
Yeah.
most things in nature are pretty like smooth, mild, well balanced. And that sharpness, she was the one who said that sharpness indicates less pure, less natural. And in that moment, I remember thinking, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I remember you said something to me like this is what clean should smell like.
Yeah.
Like maybe
Yeah.
what we were using wasn't clean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it gives
Hmm.
a whole different perspective. I had forgotten about that. That's right. Yeah, On Guard. I do love to this day, love that product so much. Um, I know you obviously this is sort of a hard question because you've been sharing oils for a long time. I feel like when people are motivated to share oils, it becomes something that is a gut choice.
Mm.
Comes from your heart, comes from your feelings.
Mm.
Um, I guess for some people, they calculate it if they're super logical, which, I know you have that side to you. You have this great business mind and you have a great analytical mind and a way to do some problem solving. I've seen you do amazing things in those areas, but I also know you have a really incredible heart, and you do a beautiful job following your heart.
Mm.
So if you go to that heart place of sharing oils with other people, do you remember what made you kind of get over the hurdle of wanting to share oils in this way, right? It's an MLM. You came from a very what I would consider mainstream banking world, architecture world. Like, you had your own businesses, very traditional, very successful. And I think sometimes people look at you know direct sales or network marketing as something that brings you pause. So to me, you got over two things. One was the channel and the
Mm.
second one was the modality. So do you remember what gave you that motivation, that gave you that bravery?
So I'd say for MLMs, so let's start there, right?
Yeah.
So for direct sales, I had done so many different things and I was kind of fishing around what would be my next venture. And this seemed to fit. And I didn't really have any preconceived notions about direct sales. At least at that time, it wasn't something that had been in my life a lot. I didn't know, nobody of my family or friends or anybody that I knew had ever done it. So I didn't have sort of let's call it the ick factor, right? We've talked
Yeah.
about that before. that maybe other people would have. It was a totally new thing to me. So that from that side of the, MLMs, it was just the way they sold their product. I was pretty neutral, really. So that was number one. And then I guess when I think about the modality itself, I had had success using natural products even before doTERRA, before the last company that we worked for, before, and always had felt that was the direction that I wanted to go in. So this was kind of, let's call it diving more deeply and maybe allowing people to come along with me on the journey, because that was maybe the missing piece, if you will. So
Yeah.
I didn't, I wasn't able to, in my, like, if I bought those organic carrots at the local health food store, I couldn't really, talk to others about it. There was nothing to talk about. Oh, I bought a brown carrot that's all wrinkly. Who cares, right? But this
Right.
allowed me to
And
kind
you
of,
should buy one too.
right, and you should too, right? And who cares, right? Nobody would care about that. Nobody would listen to that. It was also a time when social media was really just beginning to blossom.
Yeah.
I can certainly remember the days where a lot of the platforms that we use now on a regular basis didn't even exist or were just coming into an existence. And so the idea of being able to help others, kind of face to face in community seemed like a good way to go. I hope that's answering the question.
No, it's great. Yeah. And I know your mom, who God bless her, is how old is your mom now?
And she'll be 94 in May.
Has been using natural products. I don't know about her whole life, but I know she raised you with that,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
lead with nature
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
just really good diet. And,
Right.
if you can avoid toxins, then avoid them. Yeah.
Right.
That was
Food
kind of
is
the message.
medicine. Yeah.
Always in
Yeah.
our
And
house.
you can
Always.
see, like, if you got to meet Elena's mom, I mean, just like Elena, perfect skin, right? Beautiful hair, lots of vitality. Um, yeah. And it shows, right?
Yeah.
If you're following that lifestyle, it shows.
Yeah.
So, without getting anyone in trouble, so you don't have to say names and you don't have to talk about, medical terms, but you have literally helped tens of thousands of people over the last 11 years, right? And I don't know how many countries, I don't know if you've ever counted them, but it's significant. It's in the double digits for sure, maybe it's even triple digits, I don't know. But it all starts with one person, and it's a continuing stream, right? It's a continuing belief that today I'm still going to help people with this modality, right? That this is something that I have, and it's something that I can keep, or it's something that I can share. Is there that one moment, that one instance, that one person that you hold on to, that story, that if you hadn't taken the risk to talk to them about doTERRA, about essential oils, or about natural products, that you really would have regretted
Mm.
because of what happened in their life, because of the change?
Hmm. I have to say, I don't know if there's a particular story that stands out above all others, but I will say this. I feel like there are many people that are lonely and need a friend.
Mm.
And in our society right now, we don't have a lot of community. And we're breaking up some of the traditional ways that people gain community, right?
Yeah.
Maybe through church, or there's a movement against family. There's just that let's all be individuals and stand alone, right?
Right.
And what I've found with using essential oils over the years, it brings me back to that place of, this is an individual, they have a need, maybe I have something to help them with their need. And very often their need is not the first thing that they say. And I used to make the mistake when I would meet people, is I would lead with my need. So,
Mm.
for example, I used essential oils in the beginning for allergies. And so I would lead with that all the time, every day. That was my thing. But then I realized not everybody has allergies, and some people really don't care, right?
Yeah.
And but people will very frequently come to me and say, oh, I have a problem with, I don't know, sleep, or I have a problem with my stomach or something like that. But as you tease it out, it's something much, much greater. And I'm not a psychologist, and I'm not, a therapist. That's not my job.
But
But
you
my
are really good friends. Just
Okay.
so the audience knows, you have perfected the art of friendship, which is an art.
Thank you. I feel like everyone needs somebody to listen to them. And sometimes that's all they need, you know. And if my offering them an essential oil allows me to listen better,
Mm-hmm.
for them to be able to feel like they're being heard,
Yeah.
then I'm honoring with them. The essential oils is the vehicle. It's the paintbrush. It's the pencil, right? And look, we're both Catholics. I always feel like you are the pencil or the paintbrush or whatever it is. And it's just kind of a way of painting. That's all it is. Maybe and I've said this before, I don't relate to snow tires. Just not something, that's not my jam. But if I did, and that was a way for me to connect with people, then darn it, I would sell snow tires. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's not the single person that stands out as much as again and again and again, people saying without words, I need a friend.
Mm.
I need to be heard. Yeah. I need to connect. I need human contact. Yeah. That comes out all the time, all the time.
Yeah, and if you're ever wondering if Elena is a genuine person, I can tell you that this mantra has been told to me, and I have heard it like for our entire friendship. People need friends.
Yeah.
People need friends. How can you be a friend? How can you be a friend? How can you be a friend? So it's a very genuine answer, and I know it's very close to your heart. And you, like I said, A1 friend, no question about it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much I want to talk about, but let's get into some products. So what's exciting you right now? Like what are your top five? What are the things
Um,
that you're really passionate about
Top
using?
five. I mean, I have to say, hands down, always will be top product is On Guard and the On Guard line. Just love it. I mean,
Okay.
it's like my first love, and I can't imagine ever leaving it. Deep Blue, the whole line, just love it. I would say if I had to pick a particular product, I would pick the Deep Blue stick.
Okay.
Love that stick. Absolutely amazing. Um, I would pick the Meta Power line, the whole line, but I would pick specifically Advantage. So if I
Okay.
had to pick a single. The Adaptive line, but again, my number one favorite would be the Roll-On.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, love the Roll-On.
Wait, I got to stop you there. So it comes in a capsule form, it comes in an oil you can diffuse. Why the
Yeah,
roll-on? What do you like about the roll-on?
portability.
Okay.
And also, I feel like it's a really easy gift. You can give
Oh,
someone a Roll-On and they understand exactly what it is. I've seen women that I've given it to, they'll immediately open up and start rubbing it on themselves and putting it on. Like they get it. They
the
understand.
perfume
Many
stick, right? Or
perfume
whatever.
stick.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it is. Nobody looks at it and says, what do I do with this? How does it work? What is it for? If I say it's for relaxation and calming, they're on it.
Okay.
So it's a very easy, and I really like to give that or make it available to people. And then I would say probably my last would be maybe Breathe Oil.
Okay.
Breathe Oil is one of those things where it's like the sneaky hero. I don't use it every day. It's not something that I say, oh, I'm going to wake up and smell Breathe. But it's just kind of gotten me and my family and people that I know out of so many different scrapes for different reasons over the years that I think to myself, you know what, that's a hero product for me, I would say.
Uh, Oil or roll-on?
Breathe Oil.
Oil. And
Breathe
not
Oil.
the stick. So you're not favoring the stick in the breathe line the way you're favoring it in the deep blue
No.
line.
No. Yeah. I
All
like the
right, I love
stick, but
that.
it's gone through a couple of different iterations and it doesn't resonate with me like the oil does. The
Yeah.
other thing that I love about Breathe Oil is it smells to me super clean. And
Mhm.
so if I were in let's call it an unfamiliar circumstance and I needed to diffuse something, that would
Okay.
be You know, I've been at big meetings, small meetings, and put on Breathe, and everyone walks in and goes, "Oh, it smells so clean in here." We want clean, right? We don't want like, "Ooh, what's that?
What's that smell?
Yeah, what's that smell? What do you have on? Is somebody diffusing?"
So, all right, let's turn that. I love that idea. So let's turn that on its head. What's the one oil that you're like, yep, no, I'm not sharing that one. Not gonna share it. It stinks. It might be
Um,
a good oil, but it stinks.
I mean, I can think of a few, but my number one is arborvitae.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I know it's really good. I know it's healthy. I have used it in the past. I use it if I really need it, but recommend it? Never.
Not leading with that one.
No, 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 no,
Not wearing it into a public space.
no.
God.
Yeah. So
It is a really good oil, but yeah.
no, and there's a lot of good ones that have what I would say less traditional smells.
Yeah.
No, right? But
Right.
that doesn't make them any less valuable. If you're talking about your whole kit or your whole cadre of oils that you want to
Right.
have available at your fingertips, it certainly fits within the whole sphere. But is it, unless it was someone who's really familiar with oils and I was able to say to them, I would recommend this now because
Yes.
I would never, a poor newbie, I would never give it to a newbie. Oh my gosh.
All right. So you heard it here. Don't lead with
Yeah,
arborvitae
don't leave it. Even though
or
it begins with
arborvitae,
A,
depending on
no.
who you're talking to. I've heard it so many different ways.
Yeah, no,
All
not for me.
right. I think that's excellent advice, Elena. Thank you so much. Your story is so impactful. I really feel like I could do a whole series on your experiences, your stories, the little antidotes. I want to move on to our 10 questions, but I have to add, do you have a funny story from your oil like career that just like it
So
just
I have to
makes you
say,
laugh, like brings you joy?
when you so for those of you who don't know this, there were years and years, like I would say 10, maybe even 12 years that Carrie and I were on the road a lot. We were promoting our first book, then promoting our second book, and then we were doing lectures together. There was a lot going on, and we were often in, cars, planes, trains, and automobiles together, and we would be in very odd circumstances. And I remember one time, I think we were up like near Albany, and we were promoting, I think it was the first book, and the whole table was mobbed and people were just like everywhere, and we were all kind of manning a table and helping and this, and it was really busy. And a man came behind the table and he said, I just want to show you something. And he began to take off his pants, and you said, no, no, please no. And
I
I
was wondering if you were going to say that story. I'm like, she's not going to do the pants story. Is it? There it is.
there it is.
What
And
leaves the greatest impression, folks? If you try to drop your pants before a stranger,
no, not a good idea, and definitely not in public. And I was thinking,
don't do that.
in what world does this sound like a good idea? Taking off your pants in a hotel lobby to show two women what your issue is, whatever it is.
Whatever it was.
If it's under your pants and your pants have to come off to show the issue, don't go there. Write me an email. Don't send pictures.
Oh my gosh, so much to laugh about, but our time is running short. And so I love this. I used to love this show, The Actors Studio. I know we've talked about this a lot. I tip my hat to James Littman and his great tutor that came up with this concept of 10 questions. And I know it's been used all over since then. I've come up with my own. And if you want to learn more about Elena and her work and what she's doing now and connect with her, we're going to put her bio and all the links you need to reach her in the description of the show. This has been so much fun, but we're going to end with these 10 questions. You can answer with one word or phrase. What's your favorite smell? And we're not talking about essential oils now, just smell.
Oh, flowers.
What's your least favorite smell?
Gunk.
What brings you the greatest sense of peace?
Prayer.
What irritates you the most?
New York traffic.
What's your favorite character trait in a human being?
I have two: kindness and generosity.
What's your favorite guilty pleasure?
Chewing gum.
What's the last food you'd like to eat before you die?
Um, my grandmother used to make a rice and chicken dish that was called asopao, which basically means soupy. So that chicken asopao.
Pinatobao. Gonna have to
Yeah.
look that one up. If you had a magic wand and you could eradicate an illness or a disease, what would you get rid of first?
Um, autoimmune diseases.
If I gave you $500 and you have to keep it as a chunk, you can't break it up,
Okay.
what would you do with it?
I'd rent a room in a fancy hotel.
What one word would you like to give the audience today?
Friendship. Peace. Yeah.
Thank you, Elena. This has been wonderful. I hope we get to do it again.
I hope so too. Thank you so much, Gary.